Hello there, welcome back to the videos on Lemmings Plus I. So we're up to the Psycho ranking now, so let's get into it. So the first level of Psycho here is called Variety Day. Now this is one of my most popular levels. It was also one of the first new levels I created for Lemmings Plus I rather than remakes or copies of older levels. And so what it is basically, it's a repeat of an earlier level from the Medi ranking. This version came first, the Medi one was a dumbed down version, and as you can see it's a one of everything level, so that's basically a staple thing. Pretty much all my large packs have at least one of each skill level, and also has a trick which comes from Oh No More Lemmings PreV7 here. The whole bash under to release Lemmings if you can't go downwards. Obviously you can go downwards but you don't have enough skills left for later. But the real main trick in this level actually comes here, where you time this digger or bomber so that another lemming goes past the climber, and that can be used to turn around because you need the climber again here. So basically this level was mostly built around that trick. And now this level is also just for fun. When the Tools to Do So came out, I remade it for the Master System version of the game, and that version did have a bit of a major backroot in it. But yeah, so the floater in this level isn't really needed for anything. The other skills all have a set purpose, and that's basically how it's done. So yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty big step up from what Danger was like. So on to the next level, which is level 2, the parking lot. This is sort of a remake of a cheapo level, except that it's remade in a different graphic set and a more simplified layout. And basically, I think what I was thinking when I made this level was be as freaking annoying as possible. So basically what it is you've got like just enough time to complete it. As you can see, some pretty fine tuning with the release rate here. Even using a basher there to delay a lemming, and climber to delay him a bit more so you can block him, so it's pretty obvious what to do. The hard part is arranging it so that it works in time. Now the extra builder, back in the traditional Lemmings version it was needed. The entrance was a little bit slightly more to the left, so... And so that's it. So on to level 3, which is Express Lane. So this one basically, sort of the name, number of lemmings, is all a reference, believe it or not, to those 12 items or less lanes you see in like some shops. So as you can see, you've got 12 lemmings, you've got 12 skills total, and a pretty quick time limit. The level itself is basically just a repeated case of climb, bomb, then mine back down, and it's not the only level I've made like that. There's one in Lemmings Plus II that actually has a fairly similar sort of solution, of course in a much easier to execute setup. So yeah, the other thing is this level is sort of made to be as small as possible, so like I make a lot of levels that are one screen. That one's like a third of a screen wide and blocked off the rest of it by steel. On level 4, which is Think Outside the Square, it's a repeat of the Medi level, the Long Road to Lemming High. And whereas in that one you just could go outside, I mean if you really wanted to it was possible to stay inside. This one you don't really have the choice, and that's what the name's referring to. So the solution that's always been here has been going up the left side. It's actually possible to do the right side as well. This is also one of the earlier uses of my blocker builder trick. It's a trick that I use in a lot of levels, and yeah, this is one of the first times it appeared. Oh yeah, the basic thing is once you realise to go outside the level, it's actually fairly simple. So now on to level 5, which is another hella annoying one. It's Lightspeed Lemming, it's a repeat of Mild 17. And so the basic idea is you've got to be quick again. Now there's no time limit problems, but the time limit as such comes from the fact that you can only lose a very small amount of lemmings and you've got no way to stop them going off the left here. So obviously you make first few climbers to get them quicker. got to build under the blocker so that you can release them. And the other major trick to this one is that you have a few worker lemmings come back and do the bashing, and you sort of rotate them around like that. Use your spear bashes to delay these ones. Get as many of the bashes to turn around at the last minute as possible, and if it all comes together, you might just save enough lemmings, or you might even save 1 or 2 extra. So that replay there saved 1 extra lemming. I believe it's possible to save 2 extras, but very hard to do so. So on to level 6, which is the bulldozer. 80 lemmings, 98% to be saved, and there's like no reason it's 98%. It is actually completely possible to save 100%, and in fact I'd say it's probably you're more likely to save 100% than 80%. So the basic idea here is that the flames are meant to make it impossible to create a safe landing for these top groups. In reality, if you are very accurate, it can be done, but the easiest solution is to make them a direct drop to the exit, which is done by bashing away as much of this block as you can. And so yeah, this level, which is a unique one, it's one of the few Psycho levels that isn't a repeat, is basically completely built around that idea. And sort of you can let them go once there's a direct drop to the exit for them. Okay, so that's it. We're on to level 7, which is turn back with care. So it's a short level, it's a 1 minute one. You can lose 2 lemmings. And as you can see, this was sort of like a level that I just threw together and saw what I could do with it, but basically the idea is you can't contain the lemmings, you just got to delay them while this guy builds over the gap. The other hard part is turning them around, which has to be done with 2 bombers. That's also why 1 lemming is made a floater, because otherwise one would slip past and get to the trap. And yeah, that's really all there is to this level. It's just a combination of be as fast as possible and be as slow as possible at the same time, I guess. So, on to level 8, which is Snowed In. Now this one is a repeat of a Wimpy level, and you're allowed to lose 8 lemmings here. The first thing you might notice is that although you can get down here safely, you don't have any way to turn back that still leaves enough skills, or doesn't lose too many lemmings. And one option you have to do turn around without like using up too many skills is to build across there. Then you've still got the miner to come down here, and if you do that you lose too many lemmings. The actual solution involves using all this piled up snow at the side of the levels. Bash out left, and that sort of creates the delay for the other lemmings, and while it's happening, build across this gap here. And if done right, you'll save enough lemmings, or maybe even 1 extra lemming. In this case, you saved 1 extra here. Back before this was moved to Neo Lemmings, it wasn't possible to save an extra lemming, but because of slight differences in edge mechanics and builder mechanics, it is now. On to level 9, which is Coal Burner. It's also same 80% 80 lemmings, 90% to be saved. And this level's actually been changed quite a lot since its first version in the original release. It wasn't replaced, it's just been quite heavily modified, and the original version of it is actually in the PreV7 rank. We'll see it after we finish this version here. So basically the idea is you can't get in through the top of this pit, and you don't have room to build over it, so you've got to sort of come down and go through it. And then of course the hard part after that is getting back up on the other side. Need a couple of bombers to get all this stuff out of the way. Even beyond that, there's the problem of that this will be a fatal fall, so but between the bomber here and a builder out the side here, it can be survived, and obviously that's what needs to be done. And from there it's quite a simple matter. And the other thing is, of course, you get no bombers spare, so you've got to build out to release the crowd. And yes, the time limit is a bit on the tight side here. Well, okay, no, maybe it is a bit close to over the top, but generally it tends to work out that you've got a few seconds left. Like, it's not one of those levels you often run out of time, even though it is quite tight. So let's have a look at the original incarnation of that level, which is in the PreV7 rank, the final level of it. Not that it's really necessary, but to differentiate it, it's called Classic version here. So some of the differences you'll notice is this one only requires 80%, not 90, but you've also got 1 less minute to do it in. Now on closer look, here I've got the introduction screen explaining what's different, sort of, or at least why there's 2 versions of it. So, difference you'll notice, there's no flamethrowers down the bottom. That doesn't actually make a lot of difference because you don't really try to go through this bit. I mean, I guess it probably could be done, but the thing is that, as you'll notice, one big difference is there is no steel block under the middle here. So let's have a look at how this one was solved. So basically the idea in this one was, rather than a sort of through the middle solution is you sort of cover the gap from both sides, and you send some lemmings under the bottom to build up from this side. And then once the bridges meet, you can pretty much just solve the rest the same way, build over this gap, bash through to the exit. This one does actually leave you with a couple of spare builders. I'm not sure if maybe there was some use for them prior to the Lemmings version, I don't know. But as you can see, it's actually still even here possible to save over the new 90% requirement. So as you can see, that level was a lot easier in this incarnation. So back to Psycho now. Psycho 10, which is what did you expect? It's a repeat of Safety Blast, Medi 5. 80 lemmings, you can only lose 3 of them, we've only got a minute. And as you can see, you've got blockers, bombers and builders. And in fact, you might be wondering what the hell any of that's useful for. The builders and blockers are purely there as distractions. The actual solution is 3 bombers as they're falling, and if placed perfectly, they'll cut the gap. Now this level was actually in here before the bombers were instant, so originally you had to actually time these 3 bombers pixel perfect. Needless to say, that was pretty annoying. With the instant bombers, it's not so bad. But yeah, that's a sort of, it's one of those levels that's simple but disguises itself as something complex. So on to level 11, which is 3 birds with 1 stone, a repeat of Mild 4. Now this is actually the furthest away any repeat level is from its original version in this pack, which is, I don't remember the exact number offhand, but it's over 120 levels away, basically. Yeah, 127 levels from its original version. So now the first thought here might be, since you've got no basher, is to set up some kind of builder miner trick and mine through all 3. That does actually work, but there is a much simpler way to do it. I mean, simpler in terms of execution. You can build up to the top of the pillars and then from this side mine back under them and make the 2 paths meet, which is probably the easier way to solve this level. I'm not sure why that guy's a climber, to be honest. And that's basically how this one's done. So this is sort of a level that was made just... Actually, I don't remember. I think this version did come first. The original intention was, in fact, that mine through thing, but when I found this, or I don't think it was me, I think someone else may have found it, but when this solution was discovered, it was kept because the miner one was really fidgety and annoying. So on to level 12, which is a repeat of the Deadly Climb. Now, that previously was a case of repeats really far from each other. This is a case of them really close to each other at only 15 levels away. So, as mentioned before, this one originally gave you some blockers as well. Actually, I don't know if I did mention that before, but yeah, originally gave you blockers and only required you to save, I think, 75%. In this repeat, you don't have the blockers and you've got to save 100%. Now, obviously, because of that, you can't just cram them past the trap this time. but you've got builders so you don't have to cram them past the trap. But even then, this is really a matter of how you lay out your builders and how you time things, using a couple of extra builders to delay some lemmings. And the good thing about the rough edge here is that you can have a lemming turn around without sealing off this gap and everyone else following him. Since you've got no destructive skills, that's actually very important to solving this level. The alternative approach is you use like the last one that falls down to do it, and you just don't seal that off, but it's easier to have the worker turn around. Then of course, once you've done that, you've got to get another deadly fall here that you've got to create a safe landing for that one as well. This is basically the level of platforms, and platforms that have to be constructed very accurately for this one, because basically you've got to almost exactly split this fall in half, otherwise you end up with too much fatal falls. I suppose it would be possible to come back, like turn them, like build here, turn them around again, and then build a larger one. But I suppose it really depends how you use your builders. But yeah, that level, I remember one player, CC Explorer, who was like pretty much the expert, he said he actually had to open up Microsoft Paint and sketch out a solution to work out that level. So for a level that's mostly based on building, I'm actually pretty impressed with how it turned out. But anyway, on to level 13, which is a repeat of Medi 1, go high, go low. So it's 60 lemmings, so you can lose 6 of them in it's 2 minutes. Now the basic idea here is that indeed you've got to use both the high and low routes to solve the level. Basically, because the low route you've got no way other than climbers of getting lemmings up. The high route you've got no way of getting over the steel. Because basically you need 2 builders to get to it. 1 more to get over here, which would only leave you with 1 builder, which generally is not going to get you up the steel from here. So the approach is you bash from this side and come in from this side with a bomber to make this basher stop and get a slope up. And yeah, so you sort of send some workers along the low route to come backwards, whereas the main route is the high route for the lemmings. And with that done, we're on to level 14, Lemmerixo, which is a remake from one of the cheapo packs. It's been made a fair bit harder here. Even with that increased difficulty, is still one of the easiest levels in the Psycho rank. It's actually very much a worker lemming level. Now, unlike its earlier version in Wimpy, you don't have a near infinite amount of builders. It's actually quite limited, so you do have to find ways to deal with the lack of builders. You also don't have floaters, so you've got to avoid setting up any fatal falls. But yeah, so the main thing is you don't go right to the top here, you go through it, and then you use a reverse miner here to make this accessible. And it is 100% required, so the bomb is sort of just a distraction. But yeah, that is one of the easiest levels in the Psycho rank. On to level 15, where anything goes, repeat of my old 25, I think it was. And again, we've got the 53 lemmings for no reason other than to be random. And so this is sort of a slightly deviated 10 of everything level with only 2 each of builders, bashers and diggers. And all 3 of those do actually, well, not so much the bashers, but the other 3 do really have a significant impact. As you can see, I've used 2 diggers here, slightly moved the tunnel to the left. This is because this level does involve climbers and we don't want them climbing out or having fatal falls, even though it wouldn't really matter because we've got floaters and we've got a little overhang here. And you've got a really long bash here. You've got a mine so they can get back up. And same here again, they've got to be able to get back up. The basic idea is you send a few climbers up, and with those few climbers you mine a fairly thick tunnel, and last one bashes to create this, and with that thick tunnel you can quite easily build into it, and that's how you get Lemmings to the exit. Now before the move to Neolemmix it was possible with just a single miner. On Neolemmix it's a bit harder. You can do it other ways, but this is generally the easiest way to do it. Just have a thick tunnel with multiple miners. So that's it for this video. So we've got one video left to go with the last 15 levels of Psycho. But hope you're enjoying this so far. I'm going to do the next video right away, finish off Lemmings Plus I, and then we can get on to Lemmings Plus II from the next video. But until then, hope you're enjoying it and have a good day.